everyone, Virginia Heartland Journals here. And I want to pick back up from our last video where I was working with the Hortensia paper pack, that's Stamperia Hortensia, with the wonderful flowers here. So that's the paper pack we're working with. And in our last video, I was doing some Mod Podge on a future journal cover, and this is that cover. And so I've gone a little further with it, but you can see that a line here. So here over to this side is where I Mod Podge the rice paper that matches the Hortensia paper pack. And so I've Mod Podged that, and then I also did some on the side with a different paper. And so now that's what I came up with. And then you can see after I finished the Mod Podge and let it dry, I then went around and used my sewing machine to stitch around the edge, just for a decorative edge. I have also made a topper for it, and I did this using this chipboard pieces from the chipboard that matches the Hortensia paper. This little butterfly and this Dream Big wording also came in that chipboard pack. And then the fabric is just some that I had around the house, and I was looking for something that would coordinate. And so I found this, and I was really happy with how that turned out. So I just I tore it by hand and then kind of frayed the edges. And then I have a little bit of lace here. I made this flower. I made it with using a die, metal die with the Sizzix. And that's what this little flower petal with the holes in it is, and the pink. And then this top part is actually, I have to say, I don't remember where I purchased it, but I purchased a whole bunch of these little beautiful flowers from someone on Etsy. And then I did change the center of the flower to this little purple pearl that I thought would coordinate nicely. And this is a Tim Holtz frame that's going around here. And so I just kind of looked through the frame pack and looked to see one that would fit well with the size that I had to work with. I then also put some lace on the binding that kind of strengthens the binding a little bit and gives it more stability. And then I have also put the signature in. So I've been busy. You'll notice that there's some lace here going down through the center, and that's just decorative. And then I also covered the inside with some paper from the Hortensia paper pack and made some pockets. So I have a pocket here, and I have a pocket here in the back. So I'm real pleased with how this turned out. So this journal is now ready for me to go inside and make some pockets and ephemera. And in the first video that I did a few weeks back is when I put these signatures together. So, you know, I had those kind of sitting aside, and went back and pulled one of those out and got it set up with binding. So very pleased with that. I had decided I was going to make 3 of these journals, the Hortensia journals. So this was the first one that I did, the first cover with the Hortensia rice paper. And then I continued to work, and I worked on another Hortensia journal cover. And so this is it. And this one was strictly using a piece of paper out of the Hortensia paper pack, which is a pretty sturdy paper. I did put Mod Podge on it, a dull. This is a matte Mod Podge, so it's not shiny. And I'm happy with how that turned out as well. I have put, there's a little piece of glue. I'll have to get that off. And I've got to be careful there. Yep. Okay. This is muslin, and believe it or not, this muslin is leftover muslin that I had from several years ago when I was sewing masks, and we all know why I was sewing masks about 3 years ago. So I had that leftover muslin, and I just tore some of that. That's this creamy color, and that worked really well. I then, and again, this was just a piece of paper from the pack with Mod Podge on it, and after that dried, I then went in, and I think you can tell here, I have some lace. This is kind of a peachy cream colored lace, and you can see that just a little bit back behind this larger fabric topper, but I have some lace here, and it's just really nice with the texture. So here's the book, here's the lace, and then I had some of the same fabric and the muslin, and so I took that and I hand tore it to get to this size, and then I used my sewing machine to put a decorative stitch to connect those two fabrics together. And so that's kind of where things are. And then I've also made some other pieces, and I'm still kind of working through what I want to put on the cover. But here's what I've come up with. So this is a little topper that I put together, and you can see that I have just some corrugated that I put a little bit of white gesso on. You could put a little paint or other material on there just to discolor it a little bit, brighten it up a little bit instead of having it all brown. So that's what's here. And then you can tell that same fabric, I did 2 little squares and frayed the edges on that as well. And then I took a different frame here, and I took one of the chipboard pieces from the set, from the Stamperia Hortensia set, and I put that behind the frame with a little lace and just some other flowers that I had around that coordinated from a color perspective. And so I'm going to put that here. That's my plan. But I'm going to wait until I do finish some of the work on the inside before I put that on. The other things that I'm looking at and considering to put on this, one is this ribbon, and I have been making a lot of ribbons. So this is ribbon that I just had in my stash, and then I cut some circles out of the Hortensia paper. You can see that that's got that same flower, and that I have done with embossing. So you can see it's a little shiny. So I did just some clear embossing on that, and then I've glued it to this ribbon, and I think that it kind of pulls out the green in this piece. So I'm thinking about putting that there. But then I also have another one I made that I really like and I want to use on something, and that's this one. And so again, it's the Hortensia paper. I just cut that into with a circle punch. I did the embossing on it so it's shiny, and then I used, this is some sari silk and then some of that muslin that I have frayed the edges, and I just kind of put that together like a little ribbon and put that circle on there. So I'm kind of looking at, you know, what I like to have, where would I want to put that, and just trying to, I think it really looks nice in that area. So I'm just not sure if I like this one or if I like this one better. I kind of think I like this one better because of the contrast, and I think it pulls out some of the green in this little chipboard piece. And then I also have this, which is also cut out of the Hortensia paper pack, and then I embossed it, and so it's shiny. And Hortensia is the name of the flower, and so I'm trying to think about if I want to put that here, maybe with a journal plate. You know, just looking at where are the places it could go, and so I'm just working through that still. So I'm not finished with this one. And I must say that I have worked on some of it and then set it aside for a few days, and then I've come back, and it took me a while to put this together just because I didn't want to rush. I wanted to think it through, and not to overanalyze it, but just to say, you know, what do I really like, you know, and kind of come back in and say, you know, do I really like that? Yeah, I do. And I did that a lot before I glued these pieces together. I kind of messed around with different frames and with, you know, having the fabric and not having the fabric, and just kind of like a little puzzle and kind of moving the pieces around to see, you know, how do I like it the best, you know, which is best as far as a design from my perspective. And so that took a while. And so that's where I am now. So I'm going to set this aside. Oh, and let me also say before I do that, excuse me, that I do have the signature in here as well. And I will tell a funny story on myself that it took me 3 times to get the signature in here because I was not paying attention, and I put the signature in so it was upside down and the writing was upside down and this butterfly was upside down. It actually took 3 times because I just was not paying attention. So I must have been a little bit tired when I was trying to do that. And so on that 3rd time, I was very careful how I was doing it to make sure that it was right. And I don't think I'll forget that again because that was a lot of extra work to do. And so I'm happy to have the signature in with that. And, you know, I'm going to put some pockets in here and some other things. Of course, there's a lot to be done on the inside, but this is just kind of getting the journal, the framework for it all together. So again, let me set that aside and I'll show you what I'm doing with the 3rd one. So for the 3rd one, I really wanted to go away from the purple that was in the paper pack and do something a little bit different. So this is a page from Hortensia, and I've scored it at 9 inches, and then I folded this up. So the journal will look like this, and I do want this pink on the outside. I just decided I was going to do something very different from the purpley front cover, and so I chose this one, and I folded it up, and these will be pockets. And but I decided I did not want this on the inside, and I also want to strengthen the cover a little bit. And so what I have done, this is just from a Tim Holtz pack that I have, a 12 by 12 pack. So I think it kind of goes like that. And I have used my paper cutter to cut that at 9 inches. Okay, set that aside. And then this will go in here like that. So I'm getting ready to glue that in. And then I'm trying to decide if I want to Mod Podge it or not. I'm just not sure. I think it's really good just from a perspective of making the paper last longer so that it's not going to tear and that kind of thing. It kind of protects it. So I think I probably will do that, but I don't know that I want to do that on camera since you watched me do that last time. So, but this is what it will look like, and I'm kind of going more, I think this journal I'm going to go kind of into a French theme, and this is in French here on the back. And I think so the ephemera that I would do for this one is going to be, I'm going to see what it looks like. If I don't like the way it's looking, I'll switch it up. But for now, I'm planning to go kind of with a French theme with this. And so let me set that aside. I think what I will do is show you that what I'm considering doing for the cover on this one, because like I said, I want to do 3. I'm going to do 3 at once. And so I want to get all of the journals made, and then I'll start working on the ephemera, and that's going to be lots and lots of fun. I love doing that. So literally 40 minutes ago, my husband walked in here and said, "Hey, is there anything you can do with this?" And so it was a bag, and it was like this, a one-handle bag, and it's from Maymont, which is a beautiful historical park in the city where I live. And so we decided to, I decided that, yes, I can use that. So I am actually just going to cut this and make a piece to go on the front of this. Don't know what will go on top of that yet, but that's where I'm headed with it. I think I will go ahead and Mod Podge this and let it dry, and then come back as I start to work on what else will go on this topper. But I just wanted to check in and kind of show you where I am so far, and moving right along. Have a wonderful day and be joy-filled. Thank you.